Hello, I'm Martin Cross, and this is Crossy's Corner, a very special edition of Crossy's Corner because we have two great champions with us, Sam Meijer and Mathilda Hodgkins-Byrne, and they are not only world champions in the under-23s, which is amazing, but they're also Wingfield Sculls champions, and we're going to be talking a lot about this fantastic event as we go through this interview. But first of all, Sam and Mathilda, how's your day been? Where are you? Just set the scene for us. What's been going on for you guys today?
I think I've had an easier day than you. I've only got 2 sessions today. We're at Caversham. We've just finished weights and we're going to be on the water this afternoon. I think I'm in a double.
Yeah, I've had one session on the own at home in the garage, just a kind of easy 12k UT2, and then just literally like 5 minutes ago finished off weights, and then back out on the water at Caversham. If we open this, you can see there's actually a lake behind us, but just some distance this afternoon, another long UT2 session.
Yeah, and what's the atmosphere like for you guys at Caversham? Does it feel weird? I know you're practicing a bit of social distancing between the various groups.
I like it. When training, men's and women's scullers train together. It's nice you don't have to fight for a seat in the crew room. There's loads of space in the changing rooms. And again, like weights is easier because there's less of us. I definitely find we talk to each other more in the breaks than we would previously probably on the phones or whatever. I actually quite like the environment.
Yeah, it's actually been really good because like we've had I guess like we're obviously like super lucky with the facilities we've got here, but then like even like anyone who's been to like a regatta on 2K Lake knows that like in the warm-up sessions or in the practice sessions it can get pretty busy on the lake, and when we've got 70 people and it's like small boats and we've got like like 30 boats on the lake or whatever, it gets pretty bumpy. But now we've got just like I guess like 15 boats on the water or whatever at one time. It's like so much more relaxed. No one's like trying to overtake anyone. No one's like getting washed down by anyone. And it's just like it's quite nice to have a bit more just like room to do stuff. So the social distancing is actually like worked like really well here. We're obviously split up into like men's and women's scullers, and then there's like a men's sweep group, and then there's a women's sweep group, and they're kind of training half at Longridge, half at Caversham at the moment. I think it's working out pretty much well for everyone. I don't think anyone's like hating it, and so we've adapted really well. The training's great.
Well, that's amazing. Now let's go to this amazing event called the Wingfield Sculls. I have to say I know a lot more about it after having researched it over the last few days. I kind of thought I knew about it, but I didn't really. But I guess some of the people watching and listening to this broadcast won't necessarily know too much about the Wingfield Sculls. So how would you guys describe the event to someone who probably hasn't ever seen it before?
You're probably better.
So it's quite an anachronistic event that takes place once a year on the Thames. The idea is it's the British Amateur Championships for sculling and the Championship of the Thames. So the aim of the event is to have the 6 best scullers in the country competing out over the championship course, so the same course as the boat race, in a 6 abreast format to win. And it is obviously like 6 abreast on the tideway, all in singles, and like it's like a very exciting event generally. It's got a huge history. The first race was in 1830, so and it's quite fun in terms of like if you go back and look at like how it used to be run, where it was basically a wager between a group of people who like met at a pub and said, oh, well, we should do this race on the Thames, that'll be fun. And it's kind of evolved over the years to be in the format that it is today. And hopefully it's like it's a race between like the scullers who, I don't know, like it's just a really good opportunity to get some side-by-side racing in the autumn and over a really like interesting and fun course.
Yeah. Charlotte, what makes it so special for you?
Hilda.
Oh, I keep calling you your sister's name. That's so annoying. That's the second time I've done that.
The other night, and now every email makes a point of calling me Mathilda. So.
I know, and you're racing your sister in the race, but you've won this event back in 2015. What made that such a special day for you, Mathilda?
So that was quite a different race to what it's going to be next Thursday. So it was only actually Georgia and I doing it. And I think at the time I was training at Reading Rowing Club, and Dan and I were just looking at like different races, new challenges to do. I've never rowed on the Tideway. I've done Force Head, but I've never been on it in a single. And actually next week is going to be probably the 5th time I've been on the Tideway in my single. So I've really never been on it. So yeah, I will be very glad that Reedy's steering me again come next Thursday. So no, it was a lot of fun. We still managed to hit each other. But no, like that style, like I really enjoy. I'm much better at longer races. I've got quite a good endurance base, and so actually to go and do drag racing, I do really quite enjoy. And also, like, there's so many factors that come into it. It's not just like the fastest person genuinely might not win because they've steered a horrendous course.
Oh, really?
A boat's come in or something. Like it is an unpredictable race, and I think that's what makes it so much more exciting than just going up and down a 2K race where generally the fastest person will win. There's just so many other factors into that.
Does that make it more nervy for you, the fact it's unpredictable, or does that take away the nerves? I mean, is it pretty much the same as on the start in a 2K race in terms of the tension you're feeling, or is that something different?
It's different. I think it's a bit of both. It's quite nice not having to attach yourself to a state boat, but equally, I know I've got to steer the course going down, and normally in a 2K, like, I will never look around. So having to spend most of the time looking to see where I am is completely different. Equally, if you do horrendously, there's many things you can blame on other than yourself.
Yeah, it's good. You can always find an excuse for a poor performance at the Wingfields, I think.
Yeah. So you can be like, oh yeah, just awful course, or oh yeah, came out the stream, or there's loads of different reasons. So yeah, it's good.
Now the race has had to change the format this year because of not so much COVID, but because of Hammersmith Bridge being out of use. Yeah,
so the format's the same. Like we had to time trial to get into it because I think because of COVID there was a very high number of entries. So now we've time trialed in. It's going to be the same format. We're still 6 abreast, but the course is different. Normally, as Sam said, it's a boat race course, but this time we're starting at St Paul's and going up to UL. So it's a shorter course.
It's like about a kilometre shorter, but it's but with the way that the conditions are at the moment, with like a lot of land water coming down, it's probably going to take about the same amount of time, just because it's pretty steady. Yeah. But for the women, who are actually an hour and a quarter before the men, I think like basically when the tide turns, it rushes in and then like stops for like a couple of hours and then like rushes out. So I think the women will have a really quick race and we'll have quite a slow race. So no, it's so basically because there hasn't been any like historically. Well, so one of the really cool things about the Wingfields is that if you've won it, you then go onto the committee. So you kind of decide like how the race is being run in the future. So it's really cool. Like the committee is like it's got like Wade as the secretary, and then Guy Pooley as the treasurer. But then it's also got like Alan Campbell, Steve Redgrave's on it. I mean, Greg Searle. I mean, like we can go through like so many extremely impressive male and female rowers who have historically won the race, who are then like kind of pop up to help like organise the race. So after a kind of decision like within the committee, because we can only have 6 entries. The historical way of doing it has been to run heats of 6 like a week before over the course, but that was deemed unfeasible because of COVID, and because there isn't no one has any racing history for the last like 9 months or whatever. We can't just. It seemed really unfair to go to people who have historically done the race and say, oh no, well we don't know what you've done, so we can't, like, we're not going to put you in. So it was kind of thought the best way to do that would be to run a time trial, which is what we did on last Sunday. Which has led to this like really awesome field. I think especially in the men's field, it's really cool because we've got like me and Angus from Caversham, and then like Matt and George, who I rode with a bunch of under 23s, and like really like right on the next level. And then although Matt is like probably like one of the quicker ones in the single, and then like Calvin and Victor, who are both like a bit younger, and like Calvin's obviously won Scullers Head a few years ago, and Victor's like a very, very talented sculler. It's just this really, really cool mix of people, mix of like backgrounds that have been able to get into the race.
Can I ask you, what decided which guys from Caversham chose to enter the Wingfields? Because I think it's amazing that you guys, yourself and Angus, are in the event, and likewise Mathilda with athletes from the national system. But have you got to have big cojones to enter the Wingfields at the same time as?
We just decided, so originally Kyra was going to take part as well, but unfortunately she's got quite a bad back at the moment. So we just decided that anyone that was like fit out of the women's sculling squad, we were just going to do as a whole, as sort of a day out, sideway, sort of like give us some racing experience, because we don't know when the next race could be. So that's literally why such a large bunch of us went and did it.
For the men's side, I wanted to. So I mean, there's obviously like historically like a bit of a kind of a wish, but not like a wish from the coaches, but like sometimes it's a bit of a wish from the coaches here to not get athletes to do like that much racing. Which is like kind of, I understand why that happens. Like sometimes you don't want the best athletes to be put in a position where they're going to lose, where like we've been doing like a huge amount of training and then other people may like taper up towards the event. And so I kind of understand that, but so for me, I really wanted to do it because I'm defending champion and I really wanted to be able to defend. And then Angus decided to do it kind of. So Angus went to Durham, and because Wade's the head coach, I think Wade and Angus had both Wade had wanted Angus to do it and Angus had wanted to do it. So it just kind of worked out this year because we haven't had that much preparation it just worked out really well for us. And I think like coming into the trials process in the winter, we don't get much, like we get a bit of competition out on the lake, but we're not like you don't quite have that fire very often that a race brings out in you. So I think like being able to go onto the water to actually like just waking up in the morning and thinking I've got a race today, like how do I prepare for that? What do I do? How do I feel? Means that like when we come to those trials in the winter and then eventually through to regattas in the summer, hopefully, then you're just going to be a little bit more prepared. So I saw it as a really good opportunity.
Would it be right to say it was easier to enter the race with Jurgen not at Caversham? It wasn't something that Jurgen would have particularly favoured.
I wasn't here for enough of Jurgen's time, so I think I'll leave that to Mathilda.
Maybe. I know certainly Reedy was able to then choose to take us down the day before and actually get us all out on the tideway, which I don't know. I'm speculating. In previous years that might not have been possible. Equally, that could just have been because there was a very large number of us going down that we decided to like actually go out on the course rather than us. Yeah. Well, Charlotte obviously trained a lot over the summer because she lived there in London, but Jess and I certainly were very clueless to the tideway. I mean, Jess even took her watch off before the race because she was so convinced she'd fall in. And both of us were there like, oh my god, like this is really bouncy. We're not going to cope. We're going to fall in. So like, had we not gone out the day before, which was like a lot bumpier, it would have definitely been a huge shock to the two of us.
Yeah.
But yeah, going back to like what Sam said, like it's been so long since we raced. Like we all finished, and then like 3 hours later, we're like, oh, we haven't done any recovery. None of us have had any food. Oh yeah, we normally bring that. Oh yeah, next time we really need that. And like definitely this week, like I paid for that just from like, yeah, it should be ingrained, but just simply forgotten. And yeah, really nice to just be able to go and do a race.
Yeah. Now, what's the difference? Say you sat on the start. It is a different feel to a 2K race, but in terms of how you blast, both of you plan to blast off and get an early lead. I mean, what are the tactics that you adopted? What are you thinking now, without giving too much of your race plan away? I know.
Well, I don't know how much I can say. I think so. I'm in quite a fortunate position because I'm in lane 5, so I'm the lane so I came fourth in the time trial. and that's put me in lane 5, which is 1 away from the Middlesex bank. So that's actually quite a good position coming around St Paul's Bend.
Why is that? Because you're on Middlesex. So is that because
really slightly better there, basically? I think.
Yeah.
And I think like coming into the Chiswick Gate along there, you want to be a bit further over. Towards the Chiswick Gate. So so in quite a good position. I'm quite happy with that. But I mean, so people have won it from coming from behind. I would say that's like quite a challenging way to do it. I mean, like you want to make the race as short as possible. I mean, the field we've got in the men's side was very, very tightly packed with 4 of us within 3 seconds on the time trial.
Yeah, so, that was mental. That was absolutely insane.
There's going to be a lot of like jostling for position there, but you know, I mean, yeah, I don't really want to say too much about what my plan is, but like it's quite obvious. Like it's kind of what you do in like everyone's raced. Well, I mean, most of the people who will be racing have either like talked to people who have raced like the boat race or have raced like the Harvey Dale regatta, and they know that the tactics for those are very, very like kind of you just go as hard as you can for the entire race. Yeah, exactly. It's just like you want to be up because then you can block people and then you can win the race. Like if you're down and you try and go around people, it's really difficult. But I mean, we'll see what happens.
So unlike Henley, is this you can have proper sort of clashing and you can sort of wash people down if you get in front of them? Is it that kind of contest?
I guess we'll see what Graham says on the day.
Yeah, and I guess like I said, like the last time I did it, Georgia and I, only 2 people doing it, still rode into each other. And yeah, like we've got the times from the time trial, but I again don't know how much is due to course and like how much is due to where people were in the stream. So
you won the time trial, Mathilda. Are you feeling really confident that you won it by something like 16 seconds? Are you thinking, right, this is mine to lose now?
No, like I said, it's my 5th time on the tideway. Again, if I come through having not fallen in, like genuinely, like that's going to be good. Like I have every intention of trying to go and win it.
Where does the falling in come from? Has anyone fallen in during the event then? Have you seen someone fall in?
Yeah, like quite often, like, who was it?
Fran Houghton's fallen, I know for
Nick
a while.
Middleton maybe fell in.
He's fallen in.
Georgie Brayshaw fell in after the finish line on the time trial. I don't know why people fall in. Like, it's like, I mean, I learned to row on the tideway, so I like hands up, like I'm quite used to it. But like, I think people do have a habit of capsizing. I think also because of the way the race is, because it's not as codified as like British rowing rules are, or world rowing rules, where it's like, oh, if you like, I mean, there is rules that say like, oh, you can't like intentionally foul an opponent. That's quite clear. But I mean, people get close together, people clash blades, and then people capsize, or people will just row into buoys and stuff. I mean, so one really interesting thing about Wingfields is each sculler will have a steersman or steerswoman in a launch behind them who will provide steering instructions, generally with an oar.
Oh, so who's your steerer then, Sam?
I don't know yet. I haven't worked it out fully. It's probably either going to be Kieran Clark or Rowan Law, who are both coaches at Tideway Scullers.
Yeah.
Last year.
Oh well, it's an hour and a quarter break. It'll be enough. It's for me. Like I grew up on the Tideway. I know the river very well. I'm like pretty. I think like. I haven't really like paid attention that much to. Well, I've only raced it once before, but I found having a steerer was like kind of useful, but not that useful for me. So I'm not too fussed who it is. The steerer is also there for safety, so if their sculler does capsize, then they can rescue them. Kind of dual purpose, but like I'm not overly fussed who it is, because at the end of the day, like I kind of know where to be on the river, but then also like if they find some like sneaky thing that I could do to like get an advantage on someone else, I would kind of want to be like told what was going on rather than just being told to like steer into the wrong place, because I couldn't see the like steps ahead that they're seeing. And then equally in the other direction, like I probably want to make those kind of weird decisions myself. I don't know, like I think the steering thing is great, especially if you're not that familiar with the river. For me, like I'm kind of
Do you know where all those buoys are then? Have you got that locked in your memory? Unlike Mathilda.
I know where all of them are. Don't worry. I rode there for 5 years, and then at school, and then like half a year at Tideway Scullers, and then I'd come back and row every Christmas and every summer, or like every Christmas at least on the Tideway out of Westminster. So yeah, I mean, we always trained. We're like Bill always had us in small boats there, so we would always we'd generally be in singles. So we got like very competent at steering the river. I mean, that was the other thing. It's like we would always be like, every race would be like, every like session would be like doing the Wingfields. Everyone would be trying to beat each other, trying to get the best stream and all this stuff. You have pairs and fours and singles all going after this like tiny line. So you kind of get used to this like kind of battle that is going to inevitably happen. So.